Hey guys, I don't even care anymore. I think I was delusional for a second and I thought that I might become like YouTube famous at some point, but who am I kidding? This is just a personal vlog, um, a personal diary, for documenting purposes. It doesn't matter how the quality is. Um, yeah, but I'm just trying to shoot a video to kind of commemorate the closing of the year. I can't believe that it's already been 1 year since I started this little mushroom journey. And what a journey it's been. I feel like I've definitely experienced so many more things than I would have if I just stayed at my public accounting job for another couple of years. Um, yeah, it's funny to think about. I would have been probably like a manager at this point, which is pretty good. Your salary is pretty comfortable. I maybe would have been making around like 130, 140K. The job stability would have been nice. And I would have had a lot more money saved as opposed to now when I basically ran down my savings to zero. Um, but it's been such a beautiful year. It's been a hard year with everything that happened, not only in terms of like career, but relationship wise, with my breakup and just all these things happening. But I feel like it's been a really fruitful year, and I'm so thankful to God and just everybody in my life for just um, being a friend or being an acquaintance or just whatever relationships that I've developed and maintained throughout this year. And going back to kind of mushroom farming, I feel like it's just taught me so many different things in this past year and pushed me in so many different ways. Yeah, just on the technical side, I've learned so much about growing mushrooms, cultivating them. I've really developed a love for growing them, and it's really fun to see the mycelium colonize the spawn, and then colonize the sawdust and then fruit when you put it into the grow room. And I've just learned so much about the technical aspects of growing mushrooms, from watching YouTube videos, from just hands-on application, from setting up the environment, from reading just stuff online and reading books. And so it's been an incredible learning experience, and I feel like it's really pushed me in terms of being able to initiate projects and just finish them to completion. Um, and so I haven't built as deep of an expertise as I might have if I stayed in my previous job of public accounting and tax. I would have developed an even greater expertise in that if I stayed there. Um, but it's just given me confidence to be able to jump into something new and take the plunge and just kind of go on like a little adventure in life and seeing if I can make something work. Um, I feel like it's also taught me so much about business and people as well. Even not considering the technical aspect of growing mushrooms, from which I've learned so much. The people aspect is also pretty incredible. I've met so many people throughout this past year through my business endeavors. I've connected with just different people in the city who run different like markets, the different vendors I met at the different farmers markets, people like Tommy, who helped me at my Tuesday market, who works for King Mushrooms, people like um, JT, the person I was potentially going to partner with, uh, which didn't end up working out, but nevertheless I still met these people. All of my customers at the farmers market, Rockefeller Jake. Uh, I've connected with a lot of other business people at church just by virtue of like having shown initiative. Older people who are in business, they like it when younger people show initiative, and um, I feel like that's been a connecting point for being able to connect with different people around church and the city as well. Oh, like I have this little effort where I'm like trying to start this business, and they're like, oh, me too, or I have this, I know somebody who does this, and so it's been just an incredible experience, like meeting so many different people. Um, I feel like it's been a year of a lot of kind of pushing my comfort zone, pushing out of my comfort zone and meeting new people because um, yeah, I've really been like pushed out of like my comfortable social circles that I'd kind of like maintained for the past years, and I've been forced to really be initiative with different friendships and initiative with different relationships and initiative with different efforts. And it's really interesting to see how that's developed certain friendships while others have kind of been pruned or taken like taken a backstage. Um, but I've learned so much about people and just interacting with them. You know, with the farmers market, you have to put on a smile and be sociable, and so I've made so many friends there. Um, and yeah, I feel like more than that, just mushroom farming has taught me so much about life because you're cultivating life and you're getting something to grow and to fruit successfully. So even beyond just the immediate impact of setting up a grow room and making sure the humidity, the temperature, the airflow, the lighting is correct, it's really given me more perspective into what it takes to cultivate life in general. And I think just reflecting on what it means to cultivate life for people, it kind of expanded my framework of how important the environment is. So, for example, take oyster mushrooms. They're fairly easy to grow, but they're very sensitive to different environmental conditions. So if the lighting isn't correct, they'll stretch out their stems in search for more light. Or if there isn't enough fresh air exchange, they'll do the same thing. Or they may be or something might happen if you don't clean it up, and um, they might, succumb to bacterial botch. And so uh, their development is really contingent on having the right environmental factor, the right food, the right genetics set up from the get-go. And kind of the non-alignment of any one of those factors can destroy um, optimal quality yields. And I kind of see a lot of parallels between that and people. We kind of live in an environment where so many things are misaligned, in my opinion, and it really makes me question what are the things that we need to align in order to develop a happy, successful, and thriving community. And as a Christian, I do believe that fundamentally, that's orientation towards God, and um, kind of looking towards Him. But then, practically speaking, what does that mean? We live in this whatever capitalistic society that's very extractive, um, and we live in a world where we don't really optimize for human health. We optimize for extracting money in whatever ways we can, and we're all complicit in that. So I'm not saying that I'm better or worse, or someone's better or worse. Everybody's complicit in that system by virtue of participating in it. But it just really makes me like question what will it take to kind of examine the environment and examine the different factors that produce healthy, happy, thriving humans, and what are things that we can do individually to facilitate that. So I feel like it's given me a lot of perspective in that way as well. Um, and yeah, at the end of this year, it ended up not working out economically. So after a year, I was a little bit too trigger happy with spending, and I wasn't able to cash flow enough with incoming income because it took me like 4 or 5 months to figure out the growing process in the beginning of the year. And once I kind of figured that out, I was so bad at like entering the market, knowing what markets to enter. I'm not the biggest like salesperson, so I probably didn't talk to as many people and gone around to different restaurants as much as I should have. Although to be honest, I probably should have done that even before I jumped into this whole endeavor. Um, but yeah, even at my peak, I was probably making only like 1,500 to $2,000 a month, and most of that just went back into the business, or most of that wasn't even profit. I maybe squeezed out like 500, 600 a month at most during my peak. So just constraints on the growing side, I didn't know what I was doing, and constraints on the marketplace side, I didn't know where I should be selling, and I didn't have the right connections to buyers. Um, so part of it is like me not knowing how to grow well. Um, Part of it is me not taking advantage of certain opportunities I might have been able to. Like, you can still buy and sell mushrooms even if you don't produce it yourself. Um, but yeah, I think that if I could start this whole year over again, knowing what I know, I would be so much more efficient. I could probably spend half the amount of money I did and have stretched what I made like twice as far. I probably would have focused, if I could redo this entire year, I probably would have done a few things. First of all, I wouldn't have bought the Gorilla Grow tents, or not Gorilla Grow tents, the hydroponic grow tents from AC Infinity. I would have, because they don't have good temperature control, or they don't have good insulation, meaning that you can't temperature control them well. So what I would have done is bought, I would have built a grow room from scratch, buying like PVC panels, insulation, a wooden frame, and then I would have assembled that myself. And then, so that's one thing I would have done so that I could temperature control it perfectly, because you can't mushroom farm without perfect temperature control. You can't. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to be able to keep it within a certain range. And if you can't do that, then you won't be able to grow mushrooms consistently. Your fruiting schedule will be bad. Um, you're, you just can't. You just can't. So I would have definitely built out the grow room or grow rooms, and just spent upfront money like doing that and making sure I got the AC air conditioning correct. Another thing I would have done is I would have just focused on like restaurants and supermarkets. Uh, it was kind of hard to get into the right farmers markets. Most of the lucrative ones are already kind of taken. So I would have focused on building relationships with local restaurants and grocery stores. Of course, I can only see that in hindsight, because in order to actually sell at grocery stores and restaurants, you need at least some semblance of, you need to have some like, level of quality, um, that induces them to buy your mushrooms at a higher price than they can from like a bulk wholesaler. Either you're selling like a unique mushroom, or your quality is just exceptionally good. But obviously I didn't have that in the beginning, not knowing anything about mushrooms before I jumped into this. But anyway, I would have built the grow rooms. I would have um, focused on restaurants uh, and grocery stores. And then I think I would have specialized just on like one or two types of mushrooms and really perfected the quality of that, versus trying to grow like all of these different varieties. Like for example, if I just focused on producing blue oyster mushrooms and really got that to be a really high quality output, I could have only sold that. So even if I only sold like 30 pounds a week, that would have been like 30 pounds a week at, let's say, $10 a pound, $300 times four. So that's like 1,200 a month, and the margins would have been a lot better because I wouldn't have been spending so much time at the farmers markets and paying other people and paying for different farmers market stuff I need. Um, but again, all hindsight is 2020, and I only know those things now because of all of the mistakes that I made throughout the past year. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like a reflection on 2025, and I'm really excited for 2026. I think I actually am going to implement a lot of those things in 2026 that I just talked about. So even though I have a job now, I had to end up finding a part-time job to kind of supplement my income. So I'm working Monday through Thursday, but thankfully I'm able to kind of have Friday off and work on the mushroom stuff on Friday, go to the farmers market on Saturday. So I'm still planning on moving forward with this, and um, yeah, it'll be an exciting year in 2026. I'm not really planning on expanding a lot per se. I just want to focus on my job and get good at what I'm doing for my boss, and just kind of develop some consistency there. But I'm really excited for 2026 because I feel like I'm planning more so than planning on like trying to expand economically. I'm just trying to expand my mycelial network, in terms of the relationships I build with people who are in the mushroom like industry, or in like mushroom into the mushroom culture as hobbyists. I just joined the Washington D.C. mushroom like club, and they have like a virtual meeting on January 6th. So I'm excited to join for that. I'm excited to maybe learn something about foraging from the other members. So super excited for what's in store for 2026. Just maybe just visiting restaurants that sell high-end gourmet restaurants that sell mushrooms. So just, yeah, really excited for what's in store for 2026, and excited to dial in my grow room settings and parameters, and my lab work, and just really learn a lot about mushrooms in 2026. So super excited for that. And yeah, that's 1 year. It's 1 year of mushroom farming for you. So maybe I'll have a much better update at the end of 2026. See you guys.